Well,
guess what?
are we live?
We're live until we're not.
We're live until we're not. We had some major internet issues right now, so I think we're good. We still have 35 episodes before we have to dial it in.
Yeah, really. I mean, we've got a bit. So
Yeah. Okay. So at least it's not the audio this time.
yeah, I mean,
Not yet.
audio was dialed.
Wait. We need to use this intro. Welcome to the Fly Fish Food Shop Talk Podcast, featuring Lance Egan, Curtis Fry, and Brigham Wilson.
No.
Boom.
We have to be more serious.
Clark Pierce / Cheech Rigby Pierce.
Rigby. Yes, that is my middle name for
Yes.
those of you who
It's
aren't
Cheech's
familiar.
maiden name.
Well, hopefully everybody's well out there, right?
Yes.
Well,
It's a time to be well.
Right. Yeah, crazy times that are upon us. We were thinking about a good topic to cover. And I think a lot of people are stuck home right now, either wishing that they could be out fly fishing or tying flies or doing other related activities while they're in quarantine.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we are, to answer a question, still doing online orders, and we appreciate everybody's support in keeping our warehouse guys busy. So we are still open in our shop downstairs with lots of sanitization
Yeah.
of the credit card stylus.
So funny story. We ran out of hand sanitizer, the one bottle that had lasted us like 2.5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was the one who did the Amazon order, and I'm not usually the one that does that.
Yep.
And I accidentally ordered like a
case.
5 or 15 pack or something.
Yeah.
And that was like
That
a month
saves
ago.
us. Yeah, because we're going through that stuff.
We did have to barter 4 rolls of toilet paper for some spools of thread.
Yeah.
Good old Justin Kalbaka hooked us up. So
Yeah.
that was fun. But yeah, so here we are. We're going to talk about stuff. Also, to kind of move this along, if you guys have comments or questions, put them on the YouTube page. We'll pick a few out, maybe talk about those. Just as a friendly reminder, we've already talked about Euro nymphing and competition stuff at length. I'd encourage you to listen to some of our other podcasts. And so what are we going to talk about first?
Well, let's talk about stuff that everybody's doing to stay busy. I mean, over here at the Fly Fish Food land, we're shipping lots of packages. So,
Yeah.
but beyond that, let's see. We will talk a little bit about Flybox organization in an upcoming video, but that's a good one that you can do this time if you can't go out fishing. Like I think Washington,
Sound like they
they're
locked down
prohibited
Washington
from
today.
fishing. What madness is that? Like that's gonna keep more people close proximity.
Is that story verified or is it
I
fake
don't know.
news?
I don't know
I
either.
saw it somewhere that looked legit.
Yeah.
So, but one of our viewers said that Maine governor has encouraged them to go out and fish, and we appreciate that idea. So, if
Yeah,
you can fish.
Unless you're like a mega mouth breather and your mouth breathing could contaminate more than a 6-foot section.
Yeah,
of
if you're
air.
if you're within rod length of somebody on a river, something's wrong besides non-social distancing.
This is a good time to talk about etiquette, actually, because social distancing is never more important than right now. And, man, if you're within 6 feet of another angler, you have a real problem. If
Yeah.
you're within 60 yards, I would say, of another angler, you still have a real problem.
Yeah.
Leave people some room.
Well, and I don't know about what other people have seen around the U.S. or other countries where you're being cooped up, but locally here on the Provo, we've seen quite a bit of extra traffic on the rivers. So it is a good time to remember to keep it chill.
You know, one of the things that I've seen is, for example, when 3 of us go fishing, we're probably fishing closer than you normally would because we're in a group.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so as a new angler, you're walking out and they're thinking, oh, those three are pretty much holding hands. I have to keep Lance from falling in the river a lot. But anyway, sure. But I'm wondering, how many of those new anglers really can put two and two together. Oh, those two must be buddies versus I probably shouldn't go and
we turn around and
right
there's
next to this guy.
two people on either side of us.
If you're newer at fly fishing, which we all were at one time, just keep in mind that you want to give people as much room as possible. Now that can vary depending on how crowded your home waters are, or how how much solitary angling you can do. Some places in the middle of nowhere, you're going to have a lot more space, and if you run into somebody anywhere on the river, in some places you should probably leave them a mile of the river. On our river just up the road here, if you leave somebody a run or two ahead of, leave them some water to work, that's a pretty normal amount. But you really there's never a time where you should walk in and fish the same run as somebody else.
Yeah.
Even if I don't care if you're on the other side of the river, I don't care if you're in the bottom or they're in the top, or they're in the top and you're in the bottom, or whatever. You just shouldn't be fishing the same water as somebody else. If you are going to, and you absolutely think you have to fish the same water as somebody else, you at least ought to have the courtesy to ask if it's okay. But to me, if somebody has to ask, that you're already too close.
Right. Yeah. And the other thing is, like, when you're floating down the river and you're in a boat, the wading angler always has the right of way. Like, you're going to cover tons and tons of water. And so if you're wading and you see a boat come down, even if it's a small river, I always try to go behind the angler where they're casting, or if the river is wide enough, if the river's wide enough, then go all the way to the extreme opposite side. But
yeah,
I know when we float, we take precautions to try to stay out of everybody's way.
We sure try. Yeah, there are exceptions where some places the boat has to go to avoid rocks, or you can't go so shallow, sort of thing. But anytime you can avoid a wading angler and leave them as much room, or at least leave the side of the river that they seem to be focusing on alone, that's obviously preferred.
Right. Yeah, so...
Yeah.
Cool.
Etiquette. Keep at least 6 feet and preferably 60 yards.
And speaking of the crowding, one thing, like we had some people in this morning that were looking for different places other than the Provo. And it's always a good time to get out to lesser fished areas, less people. And I think we, by nature, want to always kind of be told what to do. And, I want to go here and I want to try this fly. But it's a great time to,
explore.
if you've got some days, you may as well go try one you've never done.
Or just try a different hole.
Yeah.
On a lot of our local rivers, people go to the same run over and over. When we float the river, we see the same anglers and the same guides and like the same hole week after week. It wouldn't kill you to find some new water.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd help your fishing out dramatically to just learn new water. Yes, you may not catch as many fish the first time you do it, but if you learn to focus on different water types, which fishing new water will force you to do, it's going to benefit you in the long run. You'll catch more fish overall by just trying a new spot.
Yeah, if you know that there are X amount of fish per mile in your river, they're going to be in the fishy, trouty looking water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of comments about springtime flies. That's a good topic we can talk about. And then my gnarly hairdo. Several people asking if I haven't caught a 22-inch fish for a while,
which is true.
That would be true.
For those, yeah, it is true. For those of you who aren't familiar with that history, my wife was telling me to get a haircut at one point, and I told her I'd get a haircut once I caught a 22-inch fish. And it took a couple weeks.
You were chided today for telling inside jokes, so thank you for giving me the backstory.
That's why I gave the backstory. Yeah, you are welcome, Curtis. Mr. Fry.
I too need a haircut, and my haircutting place closed. So I'm in a conundrum whether to have one of you two yahoos cut my hair.
I can do it the way I do mine.
Because I know you both know how.
I could totally do it.
Yeah.
Mine's due for another buzz.
You do it live.
I just do that at home.
Wait, we need to be more formal. The gentleman from Lehigh, what do you say about haircut? Oh my gosh, come on.
We are very informal. That's
very
on purpose.
Informal. Yeah. So, talked about. Let's talk about springtime fly patterns. So for us in Utah, which is a state wedged right betwixt Colorado and Nevada, to be specific. No, we're a typical western trout state. We're seeing a lot of betas, aka blue-winged olives, or BWOs.
BWOs, blue
Still
duns.
some midges.
And some midges.
Midges. So, Lance, tell us your secrets. As a condition of your employment, you have to tell us your secret fly.
Oh, he does it every day.
I don't have secrets. That's, you know that. Well, there are no secrets. The biggest secret for fly selection is not the fly. The biggest secret is how you present it. There's your secret.
Yep.
You know what? That's so true because we have customers come in every once in a while and they say, okay, you guys tie these flies, you show these flies, but I want to know what you guys really fish, because they're thinking that we have all these secret flies, and that's just it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and for those that come in the shop or call or email or message, whatever, we're. Sorry, I just read a comment. I'm deepening my voice.
You're
to
deepening
approach
your voice.
Chechnya.
Chechnya is what Siri autocorrects my name. If you type Cheech.
Chechnya.
I shall raise my voice forthwith.
Wow,
Hey.
cut that out.
The gentleman from Orem. What do they say?
I don't even know what I was going to say. Oh, no.
I think you're going to say that
we share patterns.
We're not really secret pattern guys.
Like come in, message us, whatever, and we'll tell you what we like to fish and what's working. And but again, it's probably what you feel comfortable with as well as how you're fishing it. So it's the archer, not the arrow.
Most of the time.
Most of the time,
true.
yeah.
The fly can make a difference.
Yeah,
but
certainly makes a difference.
You can't throw a green drake size 10 and a size 20 blue-wing olive hatch. But
yeah.
You can throw it, actually.
Sorry, you
Ants.
can. You can
just
throw
might
it.
not
You just
catch as
probably
many
won't
fish.
catch very many.
Somebody says the Iron Lotus is working well in the driftless region right now. Well, Iron Lotuses, if you're buying them from the factory, they impregnate that with shrimp oil. So that's why it works. Otherwise, terrible pattern. Don't fish it.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
The Iron
just
Lotus
kidding.
is working well here too.
Yeah, the
It's a
Iron
good
Lotus
beta
works well.
nymph.
Yeah.
Olive dark wing case, good for blue wing olive hatch times.
Yeah.
The funny thing about fly patterns as well, when Curtis and I were first starting Fly Fish Food, we talked about, are we ever going to run out of content? Do we need to slow down our videos because we might run out of ideas? But then we got thinking, we're not even fishing the flies that we used to fish 3 years ago. And if we are, there's slight modifications of improvements or changes throughout the years. And so, it changes every single year. For me, as a creative tyer, I'm always just tweaking something at the vise, going out fishing, whatever, stuff like that.
Speaking of which, that's one thing I'm doing right now is what I do about every year, and that's set up all my boxes and create spaces where I want to put new flies or kind of variations. I always do this to my chironomids, but doing it to a couple of nymph boxes. But yeah, what I see in old boxes, I'll leave flies kind of in the legacy box and create spaces for variants or maybe better tied ones. I find myself learning to tie patterns a little better. So this time of year, as we're hiding in our houses or where you can't do all the normal stuff, it's a good one to do.
Have a little more free time, organize some fly boxes.
Yeah.
Just out of
Legacy
curiosity,
box,
that's what I was going to say.
though.
Does your
What
box
the
have a
freak is
label
that?
on it that says legacy?
Is it like gold-leafed foam inserts, and
That's
do you
a
treat it with respect?
That's a
Special
software.
Wife and children,
lingo.
can you please leave the room? I'm about to open
My
the
legacy
quote
box.
legacy box. You're not worthy.
Jumanji!
Oh my gosh.
The legacy box, I like it.
Okay, yeah. Legacy box now available on flyfishfood.com.
Oh.
People are saying spring streamer preferences. Pablito, ¿qué tal? Oh yeah, sorry. English only.
That's an inside. Language is also an inside joke.
I
Cheech.
apologize. I will not
You
speak
can
Spanish.
say hi in Spanish.
Para. We talked
So-
to Lance's buddy Pablo,
Pablo.
yesterday from
Yeah.
España. And he's also holed up in his house tying flies, and he gave us a little tutorial via FaceTime.
Millions, he says. Millions of flies.
Millions.
Millions.
Yeah.
He's such a cool guy.
Too many.
Yeah.
Pablo, and just like a really, really good ideas, really effective fisher.
Yeah.
I didn't get a fish with him because Lance
Lance hogged the whole
Hogged him.
time, and we're gonna have
He
to
says
get
he
him back
wants to
out.
come. He said yesterday he wants to come out this summer
Okay.
and do programs for our customers
be
and do
awesome.
stuff in the store. He'd love that.
Okay, we're doing it.
Do it. Done. Pablo, if you're listening,
We just got to get Corona to vacate.
Yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, springtime streamer patterns. This is a really good topic that I'm kind of going through a streamer transformation right now where I've got a lot of articulated patterns like the Cheech Leech. It's kind of one of the flies that got my flies on the map. The articulated trout slider or the Flugenzombie, those types. But I find myself wanting to fish more and more moderate-sized, non-articulated patterns. And I kind of blame you, Lance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I find myself wanting to fish non-articulated, smaller streamers too.
Yeah, and so we've kind of learned a lesson on from Lance about leader construction as well. So we're fishing, say, smaller streamers,
Usually
with
2 at a time.
2 at a time. Yeah, and with the dropper tag in the middle of that leader, that allows the fish to grab onto that top fly way easier than it would be if or that it could.
Allows it to swim better too,
Yeah.
without leader tied into both sides of it.
So how long have you been doing that stuff, Lance, without telling us? Jeez.
Without telling you,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know when I started doing that. Probably in the early 2000s.
Uh-huh.
But if you don't ask, am I required to tell you?
No,
I didn't think so.
it's a secret.
Right. Okay.
No, it's
So
not
It's
a
a non-secret
It's
secret.
not a
Early
secret.
it doesn't matter.
I don't know what to tell you. I
It
don't know.
doesn't matter when you started. What we know is it's the year 2020, one of the worst years on the history of planet Earth, and it does some work on the rivers. So
Yeah.
there you go.
Spacing that a long way.
Spacing that
Not
a long
18
way.
inches, not
Yeah.
24 inches, 3 or 4 feet.
Yeah. And so that's another thing that we talk about articulated streamers so much, and I see a lot of like the 3 to 4 inch articulated streamers. And in my opinion, if you have 2 hooks in a fly that's really small, those hooks are fighting against each other. You know, if the fish eats, say, part of the front hook and all of the back hook, you're going to have to rip that front hook through its mouth, open its mouth, and pop it out. I don't
Yeah.
know. Am I overthinking it too much?
I thought when you said that, I thought you meant they were fighting against each other as far as the motion.
Oh, no, the motion is fine, but when you go to set the hook, if you have a big bulky hook in the front, but the fish has more of the back hook than the front hook,
But he has both in his.
but he has both hooks in its mouth, it's not going to hook up as well. So if you have a situation where a fish can get both hooks in one bite, it's no bueno.
So, meaning you'd be just as good using a single hook.
Yeah, just use a single hook.
Yeah.
So if
I'm-
you're using a single, do you prefer it on the back or the front?
Well, it depends. If I'm swinging the fly more and getting the fly to move with current and pausing a lot, I like it on the back. But if they're really aggressive takes where they're smashing the fish, like T-boning or bigger fish, then just keep it on the front.
Yeah.
Or like on the Drunk Drea, I've switched to a TMCO 5263 3X long, so the point is right in the middle of that hook or of that fly. I don't know. I got super nerdy about that when I was building those.
Fun to play with.
Yeah,
Right?
and it's been a crazy good fly.
Yeah, and the leader, we've had a couple questions on leader formulas. It's very similar to how we set up our Stillwater rig. Couple feet, 18 inches to 2 feet or whatever of 20-pound fluoro, blood knotted to 15, same amount length, and then tippet ring. And then you can go 5 dropper knot fly, 3, 4 dropper knot.
Yeah,
or
depending on
fly.
how long you want them. Sometimes from the tip ring to the first fly for me is, 30 inches or so.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's 5 feet. The longer you make it, or fishing a sink tip, and it's an unweighted or lightly weighted fly, the more the fly is going to stay up. The longer it is, the shorter it is, the more the fly will stay down. So you can work that into your advantage based on what you encounter. And then short butt section, like Curtis was mentioning, we're using a 20-pound fluorocarbon. We're using Vizex specifically from Seagar. You could use any fluoro, but we say 20 pound. They're not all the same diameter. 20 pound only tells you braking strength. We're using a relatively thin diameter, 20 pound. Gives you just a little bit of stiffness to help kick over, but gives you lower diameter so it sinks a little better and keeps you in better contact, rather than using a taper leader that has a very long butt section that's probably thicker than you need and slows the descent of the flies. And then we use fluoro. You could do like Maxima or something like that that's nylon. We use fluoro because it's more durable.
The master class from Fulling Mill goes all the way up to, I think, 21 pound test.
Yeah, that would work
and
just
it's
fine.
fluoro. So I've built a few out of that. It's really, really good.
We should do a tutorial on that one.
We will.
There you go. We get that question a lot. I end up drawing diagrams for it. So
we will do a tutorial if everybody mashes the thumbs up on this video right now. We only have 15 likes and 183 people watching.
Yikes, guys, come on.
Come on. Sorry, Lance, I interrupted you when you're talking about tapered leaders.
How dare
and
you.
I think that's an important thing. Why don't we fish tapered leaders with streamers?
Well, you can. For some things I do. For like a floating line streamer, sometimes it's necessary to turn it over. But with most modern streamer lines that are sink tips that are pretty aggressive turnover lines and are relatively dense, the type where you get, short amounts of line out the rod tip and then just shoot the line instead of false cast. They're designed to kick over big, heavy flies pretty well. We fish a lot of like Titan taper type stuff that are designed for big delivery. And with that in mind, you don't need the butt section of the leader to kick everything over. Where if you were throwing, I tend to throw like a 10-foot 4-weight. Curtis and I spent some time last fall. We did a little streamer video where we did some jig streamer with Euro, and we also did some standard, just regular fly line, 4-weight, small to medium size.
Oh, that was
buggers.
the day I had to work, and you guys were out fishing. Yeah,
we said,
that was super
he's gone.
cool.
Let's go.
That was super cool. Yeah, tell us about that some more, Lance.
All right. Well, Cheech was being a loser, which is actually not that out of the norm, and Curtis and I were.
No
he's
inside
like,
jokes.
let's
You
go
were
fishing.
working. Were you working? You weren't working.
I
that
was
day.
working.
He was,
yeah.
Here?
To work that.
No, I was
No.
working at my
Your other
HR
job.
job.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's your fault.
That's why I'm so pissed about it. Anyway.
Anyway, then we were using a little bit more of a taper leader. It still wasn't it's not like a 7.5-foot taper leader, but we had a little bit of taper still to a tippet ring, and that helps you with control and things. But for most, especially sinking line or sinking tip applications, you don't want a taper leader on there. You want to transition from the fly line to thin material, relatively speaking. You're not going to fish 5X with streamers, but get down to 1X, 2X, 0X, something like that pretty quickly, so that the flies can get down to depth better and stay at that
that's
depth
a
better.
huge part
And
of it.
then the other thing is, most people have really struggle straightening their leader or taper leaders, the butt sections. So when you have coil in that leader, and every time you go to strip, it gets tight for a second, but then when it goes slack,
Goes
that
coil
coil
again.
comes into play, and you have less sensitivity again. So yeah, there's lots of reasons not to fish a taper leader.
Yeah.
For lots of presentations.
And
not
I've
just
seen it make a
streamers.
difference.
Let's clarify too, because someone's asking, do you tight line the dual streamer setup? And the answer is you might be able to, but this one that we're talking about is more of a cast and
Just
strip.
regular
Your
cast and strip.
traditional, yeah.
Yeah, and we all have kind of our favorite rods and lines for this too, I think, which is maybe worth mentioning here. Since we're talking about streamers.
Why not? We go on tangents. Let's keep going.
Yeah, talk about
Dig deeper.
the rods and lines you guys were fishing on that Green River video. If you haven't watched the Green River video that we did earlier this spring, you should.
The one where I rode you into all those fish?
Dude,
Oh, yeah.
I rode you into way more
Expertly.
fish than you did mine.
That's true, but that's just because I caught more fish than you. Trapped you. I trapped you on
dude.
that one.
Oh, son of a. See,
Anyway.
all right. Anyway, go watch the video. But
Yeah.
Curtis, what was your rig?
So I have the one I've been using almost, not exclusively, but a ton since. G Loomis IMX Pro 9.5-foot 6-weight.
Which is an awesome
That's
rod.
for the money. It's a sub $500 rod. Could be Stillwater, streamers, whatever. You could. It throws some line. It's
And
good.
I actually stole it from Curtis one day in Argentina and fished a midge tip on a lake with
Yeah.
it, and I didn't even think twice about it being
Yeah.
9.5 foot instead of 10. It was
great.
awesome.
Yeah. So excellent multi-purpose rod. If you're looking to get something that can do streamers and Stillwater, it's a good one for a great price.
9.5, 6-weight IMX Pro.
Yep.
Perfect.
From a Loomis.
Cheech, you were using?
I was using the Loomis Asquith 9-foot 7-weight. Whoa, too much
Holy
Dr.
cow.
Pepper.
Too much. Was that cream soda Dr. Pepper or cherry Dr. Pepper?
We'll be
It's cherry.
smelling it soon.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
How much?
No,
Hang on. How much water have you had today?
water? Way more than you.
Zero ounces.
Water does the body bad.
I did forget my water today.
But anyway, I was fishing a 9-foot 7-weight Asquith, and I prefer that one.
Water-free zone.
I prefer a 9-foot rod just because they're a little bit lighter weight, especially that Asquith. It's phenomenal. And then I fished a Titan Taper triple density fly line.
357.
I think I did the
You intermediate 3.5 is the one
that
you're
day.
fishing. That's right.
And if you haven't checked out the new crazy fly lines from SA, you should, because they are game changers.
They're cool.
In fact, weight and depth was a huge difference there. Curtis took off a heavy fly for a few hours and didn't touch a fish.
it
And
was
then
a
the
big
second
difference.
that you put it back on, he was right back in it.
Game on. And when we were in Argentina, we mentioned this in our last video, but the half a day that I fished with the floating line, same rod, same flies, really. I still caught a few fish, but when I switched back to my streamer setup with that Cold 25 sink tip.
Did you do a 150 or there, or what were you fishing?
Yeah, that was a 150 on that one, and 150 grain, and it was a huge difference, like night and day, because what was happening, and I could see it in the water, was that sink tip was keeping the fly at a more reasonable level for longer during the retrieve. So it would get it down maybe a little faster, but the weight of the flies at first was what was getting it, and I'd strip, so I'd see them come off the edge or wherever I cast. But it wasn't until you start, because you're dealing with current, the boat's moving, and you're stripping line in.
And you're dealing with a person that's not rowing very much.
Well,
Dude,
Just kidding. He rows.
dude, I'm not even going to go there right now with you, Lance Egan.
but yeah, it made a huge difference because I think the flies maintained a eatable level for longer. So lines will make a big difference.
Yeah.
Like, big difference.
And as you're quarantined in your basement, streamers can be a little bit more time consuming. I find that if I have a trip coming up and I'm low on streamers, that I'll kind of not tie those very much, just kind of go back on whatever I have available. It's not like a little Baetis that you can knock out a dozen before the trip.
Yeah.
So as you have spare time, it's a really good time, in my opinion, to build some streamer boxes.
Yeah.
Build a good selection of streamers.
Why not?
Okay. Well, people are asking about the fly lines. We probably need to do some more informational videos on YouTube to really
would be
get down to that.
Because there's a lot of them. Like if you,
Yeah.
old school, kind of when I got into fly fishing 6 months ago.
I thought it was 8, but
well,
go on.
There's floating lines and then there's sinking lines, and the sinking lines had a sink rate. That was it. And like today, there's not even that. I mean, you've got triple density, you've got seamless density, you've got midge tips, and now we carry the airflow lines, which have fast glass, or what do they call them that in the U.S. designation?
They're not as commonly called
Anyway,
that.
but they're
Fast
so-
intermediate,
fast
slow
intermediate.
Yeah,
intermediate.
there's so many different designations. So, and I think, and those are all derived from function. Like they're looking to do certain things with them. So, yeah, we do need to break down lines. That's a good upcoming tutorial. Or
Even the floating lines, what's the difference between MPX, Infinity,
Titan taper,
any of that stuff.
True.
Well, there you go. Streamer talk. What are some other things that we should talk about here? What are you guys up to? Those of you who are quarantined, what types of flies are you tying to? What questions do you have?
Yeah, so I can tell you that we're sending out, compared to this time of year, probably about the same amount of fly tying material, maybe more. Actually, probably more fly tying material. So I know a lot of people are out there tying flies.
Definitely.
Like we said, it's a good time to redo your boxes a little bit, that sort of thing. Clean up your tying areas, organize.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude. That's
Apply
a nightmare.
labels. Apply labels to your drawers.
And to your
Nice.
legacy fly box.
Labels, I'm more into just writing on it with a Sharpie.
Yeah, that's
a
a
label.
good trick too, is since you can make it come off with hand sanitizer.
Except for it's going to be permanent for the next several months at least because
Till
hand
you get your-
sanitizer's gone.
Sanitizer back.
Man.
Right. Let's see.
Would you like to know which rod I used?
Oh yeah, we didn't. Why did?
Oh,
You
we
just wait.
stopped.
We were going down the line and
skipped
you
it.
skipped yourself on
I
purpose.
did. You were typing and I wanted to interrupt you.
I fished a Sage Winston Legacy rod in a 9-foot 3/4-inch configuration. All right, what did you fish, Lance?
Well, I don't have the same budget that he does for fly rod, so I had to use one of those. I have Asquiths and 4 and 5s, but I don't have a 7 or a 6. And Loomis, you guys got to make Asquiths in 10-footers. Come on.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Call out.
Yeah,
Asquiths
Loomis,
are
if-
awesome, but
if
we need them a
you're-
little longer. Anyway, I was using Sage X in a 10-foot 6 weight with a SA Cold 25 150 grain. And then the old junk, and let's see, I switched. With the junk, I put different colored woolly buggers, basically.
For those of you who do not know what quote junk means, don't Google that word just alone. Search Lance Egan's Big Junk, which
Sculpin.
Sculpin.
I think that's a safe search.
Not
but,
Clark Pierce Glamour Shot Big Junk.
Right,
No.
right. That
That would be
always gets
bad.
me in trouble. But yeah, it's
Gets
It's
you in
a-
trouble. What are you searching yourself for?
I always do that.
He's just making
I
sure.
always do that. No, but
Anyway.
it's a very successful fly that Lance has tied. We have a tutorial for it. Anyway, proceed with the junk
we don't
talk.
we don't sell it, so
We don't.
Well, unfortunately, it's not available
yet.
commercially. But
Yeah,
you
right.
can build them yourself. They're not very hard.
Right.
It's a glorified lead-eyed woolly bugger. Knock
Very,
yourself out.
very glorified.
And any of these you can find, just go to flyfishfood.com in the little search window, type in the name of the fly you want. We also have them broken down by like streamers, dry flies,
Style,
Euro nymphs, whatever. So, and they all tie back to a shopping cart kit, so you can add all the materials for one fly. Boom, check out,
Boom.
you're done.
Hey, that's one thing. If any of you guys are watching and you're YouTube fans of ours, if you look in the description of the video, there's always a link there. We've had
we're
a few
trying
calls.
to. Yeah, I don't know where the materials are listed.
Yeah.
But sometimes it is hard in the descriptions to see some of those things because YouTube wants you to go through ads and stuff. But
Right.
sorry,
Uh,
YouTube, in case you're listening,
We love YouTube.
we love you.
Except when you put ads over the top of things.
Oh, easy, guys. Easy on YouTube. They're having a hard time. They're having to compete with schools trying to homeschool their kids. Any of you out there have your kids at home 24/7 right now and want to just wring their necks? You hear a lot of that.
Yes.
Moms.
My kids are old enough that they take care of themselves, and they've even taken out the trash without being asked, walking the dog, doing the dishes. I'm kind of liking this.
They've
Yeah.
suddenly gotten more responsible.
Yeah.
Well, they've realized that they can do, like, the teachers can only put out so much work. So it's like maybe 3 hours worth of real school work, and they
Yeah.
just knock that out, and then they have the rest of the day to just
Mess.
stare at each other
Yep.
and fight. What do I know? I'm just here all day. So,
Cheech makes his kids tie flies at slave labor rates.
oh yeah, my son wanted to buy something, and I'm like, dude, if you tie flies for the shop, they're $1 a piece. So he got after it. Look at my last Instagram picture
Yep.
at I am Uncle Cheech. There, I'm plugging my own Instagram now.
Look at that.
Ooh, what's yours, Lance?
At Lance Egan Fly Fishing.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy. Curtis?
Frito fry.
At Frito Fry.
Frito Fry.
It's basically
So-
a double ambiguous.
Fry
or-
Fry.
Someone is asking about fishing glass rods. Or so, and also someone says, are the Asquith rods really worth the investment? Now, I can talk about one of those. I have opinions about both, but I'll choose to talk about the Asquith. But it is a very expensive rod.
Yeah.
And talking to the guys at Shimano, the way that it's built is completely different from a lot of rods. If you see an Asquith, the diameter of the blank is way thinner than a lot of the fly
Yeah.
rods out there. A 5-weight's going to be the same diameter as, say, a 3-weight. And instead of taking sheets of graphite and rolling them on a mandrel and gluing them, or baking them or whatever, it's a single strand of graphite that goes around the mandrel. It's a really tough technology, I guess, to put together. Am I saying that right, guys? You guys have...
I don't know that much about them, except that I really like fishing them.
Yeah, I mean...
They cast really well.
Lance probably has more time fishing Asquith than either of us.
Yep.
I won't let Curtis play with mine very much, but what do you like about it, Lancer?
Well, I fished the 8-weight for...
Oh,
yeah,
we've had that 8-weight, yeah.
Yeah, I've mostly fished the 5 with the 4 a little bit, and I use the 5 the last basically almost 2 years now, I suppose. Mostly as a boat rod, 9-foot 5 weight, just throwing dries mostly. A little bit of streamer action with it too, but I like they're incredibly accurate. They're very light, as you mentioned. They load up really well in close, but they also have power to throw the whole line if you want.
Oh, yeah.
So, we're not doing that from the boat in a dry fly situation, but when it's windy and you need a little more power, they have that. But for most of the 25 to 35, 40-foot casts we make, they have just deadly accuracy, and they're really light and easy to cast.
I agree. Lots of power, too. I mean, with that double streamer rig with a Titan taper line, which is an aggressive
They're crazy
fly
powerful.
line. I felt like with even like the gnarliest of double hauls, it didn't feel like I was pushing it too hard.
So to answer the question, we feel like it's worth the investment, but they're also really expensive, and that particular price point rod, they're $1,000, basically $1,100, $1,200 rod. Currently, as of the recording of this podcast.
And full disclosure, as people in the industry, we're not paying that price for them, but
right.
But I mean, if that's way outside of your budget, so be it. I mean, there are lots of other fly rods from $350 up that will still do the trick. But
if you want something premium, it's as premium as they get for sure.
I would agree with that.
On the other end of things, can I tackle the other question?
Yes.
We'll do it carefully.
Okay. Yeah. No.
The other question
agree.
was fishing glass rods, and we are not here to tell anybody what they can and can't do. Right? You get to choose what you want to fish with. But I will just say that there's a reason that the top fly rod manufacturers have either no glass rods or 1 or 2 glass rods in their lineup, and that is usually because it is because glass is an inferior material. It's heavier, it's slower recovery, it's not as accurate. If they could make glass rods that outperformed carbon fiber rods, everybody would be doing it.
Well, and that's just the thing is, fishing a glass rod is more about nostalgia.
Right.
It's different from throwing a graphite rod. You have to slow down your cast. But when it comes to the really technical stuff, like aerial mends in the wind, that kind of stuff, it's a little bit challenging.
And that doesn't mean you can't have fun, fishing.
Yeah, a lot of people love it. That's great.
And that's, like I say, we're not here to tell you that you can't or you shouldn't. You get to decide that. For me personally, I don't have interest in glass rods. That's just me. I know lots of people that love them, and if you love them, there's no reason to stop using them. Yeah. They're fun. They're softer for sure. For what I like to do, and I think for what you two like to do, they don't really fit our fishing, if you will. But again, knock yourself out. If you love them, go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that we've gotten to the point where we have certain techniques in mind with our fishing, as opposed to just having one that kind of does it all.
Yeah. Some people that fish glass would say, you guys are missing the point. It's not all about catching fish. And you're entitled to that opinion, but that is your opinion. Yeah. To me, I'm fishing to catch fish. That is the purpose.
Yeah. Oh, come on, Lance.
I know it's crazy talk, but that's just me. Now, other people love to just get out. I hear it all the time. Oh, it's just nice to get out. It is. It's really nice to get out. It's nice to just cast a rod you love. If that's what it's all about for you, then that's what it's all about for you, and you get to decide.
Yep.
There you go.
Perfect. Glass rods.
Glass
mic
rods.
Drop. Boom.
No mic drops.
Right. Somebody says, any thoughts on the new Orvis Recon nymphing rod? Worth the upgrade from the previous model? So, little known fact, we've had that rod for
almost a year now.
6 months.
Well,
almost a year.
When did we? No, it's been 6 months. Sorry.
Yeah, 6 months ish, and we've had it out a handful of times. Not a ton of time on the water.
Yeah.
And I'm the one probably that's fished the old Recon the most. You've fished
it a few
times, a fair bit. Have you thrown it at all?
Yeah, Lance has too.
And that's a great rod. I mean, for the money, the mid 400s, the old Recon was awesome.
Yeah.
The new one is a little bit softer than that. I really like the aesthetics of the new one a lot. The reel seat's awesome. They have that new warranty service on the Recons now too, where you can just kind of order a section if you break it. But
That's cool.
long story short, it's nice. It's really, really nice.
Yeah. So, but if you had the old model, would you upgrade to the new model? I don't know if I would.
I'm with you. My opinion would be that I wouldn't. I think the new one's an upgrade, slight. But if I was going to upgrade, I would probably go next step. Go TNT Contact. Go
right.
Orvis H3. Go Sage ESN.
Yeah.
Go to next level. If you already have the old Recon, the new one is nice. It's beautiful. It's well done. We're fans. But
Yep.
I'm with you. I don't think there's necessarily a reason to just jump out and get the new one.
Yeah.
And to talk about the Recons in general, that whole lineup of rods is awesome. I've
For
tried
that
to
price.
cast the
Yeah,
majority of them,
absolutely.
Yeah.
and there are some phenomenal sticks.
And going
in there.
back to the ask with, is it worth it? Is any high-end rod worth it? Again, you have to decide. There are, as we've mentioned, if you take the Loomis IMX Pro Series or the Recon Series or a Sage Pulse or something, some of those mid-price point rods, those are really fishy sticks for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure. Someone says, is there a big difference between the Recon and the ESN?
Yes.
Yes.
Significantly
And
lighter.
I have an ESN 10
Yeah.
foot 3-weight that I love. And I fished the Recon side by side with it and the TNT. I'd probably, for my style and what I feel, I like the ESN. The Thomas & Thomas is really good too.
Yeah.
I'd probably put the Recon, maybe price-wise, not that much below the TNT.
Yeah. That and the Shadow X.
Oh, yeah,
I think
forget
both of
that, yeah.
those in that range, I think, are the front runners in that
Yeah.
450, 475
Yeah.
range.
Which is a really popular range. We, like full disclosure, we sell way more,
The
$300 to $500 rods than we do truly
Yeah,
high end. Do we sell high end? Absolutely.
Yep.
But numbers wise, there's more people for sure buying those. I don't know if you want to call them value rods at $500, but mid price point rods.
And so if you want an ESN, give us a
They're
couple 3 weeks and
Crazy
we'll have some of
light,
those for you.
and they're really quick recovery, and they're very
Wait,
accurate.
Did
and
you
so
just
on.
drop a bomb,
I just
Curtis?
dropped a bomb.
What is it?
Yo.
What is the bomb?
Sage in the house.
Sage will be in the house.
Working on timing, but
Yeah.
with all the craziness going on, but
So
But coming.
yeah, it is in the pike.
So yeah, that's cool. That's a lot of nice rods in the house.
Yep.
Let's see.
What other good questions do we have,
What other-
Rigby?
Rod building supplies in the store. We don't have rod building supplies. Seems like fewer and fewer people are doing rod building.
Yeah, it's died quite a bit down. I mean, back in the 2000s, late 90s, I guess, it was a big deal. I built a lot of rods myself.
Same
Cheech
here. I
did
used to
too.
build them a ton, and then you break one and you're like, oh crap,
Yeah.
I don't want to have to rebuild it. I think part of that is that you can get a $99 rod nowadays with a lifetime warranty.
Yeah, and less
And-
hassle than building it.
Yeah, I mean, tying your own flies is a different story though, because you can actually affect how well a fly fishes by putting something on it or doing your own thing. But changing the colors of your thread wraps on a rod, it's going to look cool. And I think custom rods are awesome.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of what's happening there. So
Yes. Less and less popular for sure. But still, if you love it,
Yeah.
you should do it.
is Lance a nice guy? No, he's not.
Not
Okay.
really.
Are there any fly boxes that you're currently? I guess.
We do have a fly box video
Oh yeah.
that we'll be releasing maybe this week. But we talk a lot about what fly boxes we use.
Well, I was going to
How
ask
they're
if
organized.
if the three of us are working on filling any boxes, but the joke's on us. We're actually working every single day. You know. So
Always refilling. I don't know if I don't. You have a box? No, it was you that brought in your flies the other day.
Yeah.
You have a box that you're working on filling.
I'm starting two brand new, like a brand new Chronomid box and a brand new Euronymph box.
Yeah, and I'm always
Yeah.
just replenishing.
Yeah.
Seems like I never just build a whole box, but
Mostly because of my OCD. I'm like, the old box, there's some flies I don't like, and I'm just
the legacy
moving
box
on.
needs to be retired.
I do declare
It
that
is
this
time
box
to-
shall be
We're never going to let
deemed
you live down the legacy
and
box.
struck down.
My legacy comments shall not be used against me.
Too late.
Okay, so we wrote a little bullet point on the board. We were thinking about this, and it's don't overthink fly fishing and tying. We've touched on that a little tiny bit, but what does that mean?
What does that mean to you, Curtis?
Yeah, Curtis, you start. Your turn.
I don't even know what that means. Now, I think a lot of times, well, we have guys that come in the shop, and we're kind of guilty of this too.
Guys and gals.
And gals, yeah. And they'll come in and want to get really, should I use the light done parapost or should I use the medium done parapost? Or, stuff like that where, yes, I mean.
Yeah. Do you think it really makes a
Yeah,
difference?
it's like, I think sometimes we get too focused on some of these little tiny details that probably don't matter. Like, that reminds me on the green, that was quite a while ago. There was a Baetis hatch, and the fish were going nuts, and they were eating the adults. I could see it. And they just wouldn't eat what I was throwing. And it was weird, and I don't know what the deal was. I think it might have been a little bit of presentation. And so I took a Mutaputa, an olive, like a size 12. Kind of the same color of what was going on.
Mutaputa is a fly pattern made of foam. Proceed.
Inside joke covered. Well, that's not even a joke.
No joke. Inside information.
Threw that first cast, big old fish on. And that was the thing, is I'm sitting there trying to overthink and analyzing what's going on, why are they not eating this? And I just threw caution to the wind and tied on something they shouldn't eat, and they sure did. But again, sometimes you don't know. So
Right.
Mix it up. Don't be afraid to try new things. Or sometimes don't worry about it. Other times we like to think about it because we like to know, is the orange going to be better than the shrimp pink?
We could cite example after example after example of, to the point where like people come in and say you have to fish the bigger streamer in the back and the small one in front because it doesn't look right to have the
small one
chasing the big one. But the trout don't know that. The trout don't reason. They don't think about. If you have more confidence fishing the back one, the bigger, perfect, do it. But you could fish the big fly in the front and the small one in the back. It works magically. Or you can flip them around. Doesn't really matter. Don't overthink it. Or I had a guy tell me one day that you have to tie an egg-sucking leech because if you put the bright bead or something on the front, the fish thinks that the leech has stolen its egg from its red, and they'll kill it then.
I've heard that.
And you're going, they will eat an egg-sucking leech.
Yeah.
I don't think that the fish is processing all that. Well, you're giving it a lot of credit. Its brain's about that big. And it's not thinking that. It's thinking, ooh, brown, black, brown, whatever color leech with a hot head. That looks really tasty. I'm going to try and put that in my mouth. It's probably not even thinking that. It's going, breathe in, breathe out, food, eat. You know.
Yeah, I've heard that one too before. It's kind of funny, but it's like the fish. The fish aren't going to think like a human being.
We project our logic on them.
Yeah. Well, there was a guy that he said, I see all these flies on your site and everything, and I'm just going to do some wacky colors because the fish. What if you had to eat the same thing every single day, and then you saw this way cool new meal coming down the river? You're going to go eat that one instead of all the stuff you've seen over and over again. It's like, no, that's not. It's not really.
Yeah. Well, they might, because they might get interested in the color, but I don't think that's why they're eating it. They're not eating it because it's necessarily
leftovers again.
Yeah.
Or tying flies. We have guys that come in and they've tied with some certain brand of dubbing, and they had a dye lot that was off or something, and they bought it at that point, and they caught 4 fish that day back in '78. And they haven't been able to find that yet, and that's the reason why their fishing has sucked for the rest of their life. So they're on a quest to try to find that exact material again.
And on and on and on, right? Overthinking.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's overthinking. And the majority of the time, The problem is presentation as opposed to
How about fish
fly.
get used to certain flies, right? That's why they won't eat a parachute Adams, because it's pretty new and they've only seen it once or twice. So in another 2 or 3 years, they'll stop eating a parachute Adams. No, they won't. They don't get used to flies.
I just get tired of tying same old, same old. So
That's
I'll
fine.
mix it up.
Change it up. There's
Yep,
no problem with that.
exactly.
Just don't
First-
project your logic on the fish.
That's right.
First the fiberglass rod bomb, and now this.
I love parachute. What do you mean? What did I
I'm
just
just
drop?
saying.
What bomb?
See, he's trying to back out of this. He said that the parachute Adams wouldn't work.
Tongue in cheek, I did, yes.
Yeah, I can give you his email address. No, but that's
Cheech at
Cheech
RigbyPierce.com.
at Rigby. That's super cool guy. Hey, here's a great question. A good time for Lance to
Be
give
quiet.
himself a little bit of a pat on the back.
Uh-oh.
What's Lance's new video about? Maybe
Oh,
you
yeah.
can talk about that a little bit, eh?
New video
Yeah.
is called Adaptive Fly Fishing. It's available right now for pre-sale, not available to watch. It should be available for digital download on April 6th. It is about all things fly fishing in a river.
Yeah.
That's what it's
Like
about.
all things.
Like
Wait, you don't just Euro nymph? You don't.
we
just
do
type
Euro
line?
nymph in it for sure. We also fish dries, dry dropper, streamers. What did I leave out? We didn't do wet flies. We probably should have, but we didn't do any swinging of wets. But yeah, it has a lot of dry fly sections. It has a fair number of nymphing. It has a couple of 3 streamer segments in it, maybe more than that, maybe 4 streamer segments. Some dry dropper. It's really about finding a piece of water, and we describe what it is. This is a tailwater. This is a freestone. This is the time of year. This is the water temperature. We expect the fish to be in this water type because of these characteristics that are going on, these parameters. And here's a piece of water. Here's a glide. Here's a riffle. Here's a run. Here's a pool. Here's pocket water. Here's an edge. On and on and on. And here's how we think this is the best place, in our opinion, to approach that piece of water, and the best technique for this specific piece of water. So it breaks the river down into very small segments, and then we hope to show you ways that we think you could approach it. And they're not all hard, fast rules. They're just good ideas, in our opinion, of ways you could approach the water. It should be fun to watch because Gilbert Rowley filmed it, and he always has
Freaking insane.
a good
He's
eye
one of
for
the
capturing
best.
good
Yeah.
stuff. He has good B-roll, good underwater shots, good everything shots. He's just amazing. And then he has a knack for making boring people like myself, and I'll say moderately boring because Devin's not boring. I'm teasing, but like my friend Devin Olson, he makes us seem tolerable, palatable for an instructional video. So it should be relatively
Agreed.
fun to watch.
We're stoked for it.
We did it in some fun locations with some really cool backdrops and pretty areas. So clear water situations should be a fun one to see.
Yeah. We're excited.
Thanks
Yeah,
for the
and
shout out.
The other thing is, if you haven't realized, like when someone comes in the shop and they say, "Hey, I need," one guy came in and he said, "Hey, Cheech, I need you to tell me everything you know about Euro nymphing in 5 minutes. I don't have much time." And I said, "Okay, it's long rod, tight line, you catch a lot of fish," or something like that. I said, "But if you're going to get into
Nutshell.
it, before you even buy a rod, before you buy a reel, buy this video, watch it, and pay attention to what's going on, because then you'll see the reason why you need a rod that's 10 feet or longer. That you'll see the reason why you need the thin line. You'll see the reason why you need to use the flies and tippet that you're using.
And that video is modern nymphing,
Modern nymphing.
not adaptive fly fishing.
Yeah, so there are 2 other videos out already that you can get, which are called
Modern nymphing and modern nymphing elevated.
Ooh, elevated. Is that like the legacy box of videos? No, but they're phenomenal videos. Like super instructional. They're easy to follow along, and they will improve your fish count.
I would argue even if you're not going to Euro nymph, which I know some people are adamantly against, which is fine. Again, you get to choose how you fish, right? But I would argue that you'd still probably enjoy the videos because you're going to see fish caught in water types that you probably walk past, and you're going to see techniques. It might give you ideas for other techniques. We have a few customers that come in that have kind of halfway adopted Euro nymphing and their indicator style, where they maybe used to just fish indicators and shot. Now they've lengthened their leaders. They're using longer, lighter rods. They're still using split shot on tag ends instead of tied in line, or flies on tag ends, split shot on tag ends, all kinds of tricks like that. So it might just give you some different ways of rigging and different ideas on how to approach water. And there's definitely things in both videos, well, all three videos now, that I think any river angler would learn a few things from. Obviously, if you're a very skilled angler, you will probably learn less, but for most anglers, there's going to be a lot of nuggets in there to improve your fishing.
Especially for the people who say, oh no, I've been doing that same exact fishing for 20 years. Well, very good chances are you're not doing it the way that you guys lay it out.
Correct.
It's pretty different from just normal tight line old school fishing. And the answer lies within the video. Just get it and watch it.
Digital download or store.flyfishfood.com. We have the two DVDs, Modern Nymphing Elevated, and when available, probably another month and a half from now, we'll have Adaptive Fly Fishing in store too.
Yep.
Nice. What else? There was another.
We probably got about 3 minutes up till an hour. Is that we start about 10 minutes late?
Yeah. Well, what I was going to do, I wanted to do this is give a shout out to our staff. We have Kilo that's doing orders, Chandler, Holly, Brigham, Brandon.
Tyler even jumped in for a bit.
Tyler came in. Sam,
the artist formerly known as Sam.
The artist formerly known as Sam
who
and
is
Scotty.
no longer with us.
And Lance here. They've been absolutely crushing it. We've been super busy putting out lots of orders. So if you guys have ordered from us, you've noticed how quickly everything's going out, and we're trying to keep up with the demand. So we're doing as good as we can. I just had to throw it out
That's
there because
good. We tend to steal most of the limelight, and we have lots of other important pieces to the business.
They're the real MVPs.
There's no doubt about it.
Right? Yeah. So, Shelly and Kenny sent them cheesecake the other day. Except for we kind of took the credit for that, and we ate it.
We need to.
I didn't get any cheesecake.
Well, that lasts for a while in the fridge. I still probably have a couple pieces. So.
Yeah, but it's at your house.
Oh, I'm bringing it tomorrow. Oh wait, you're on the river
I'm
guiding.
Not here tomorrow.
Oh yeah, Lance is guiding tomorrow.
It's all right. I'll get some next time.
That's going to be awesome. Okay, we have like 4 minutes left. Who else has a question that we can cover super, super fast?
Pablo's asking something about River Plate. I'm not answering that one.
River Plate is a soccer team in Argentina,
yes.
a soccer team that Cheech likes, and Curtis is a fan of Boca Juniors, also a soccer team in Buenos Aires, Argentina, also known as Los Bosteros de Mie. No. Okay, I'll stop there. Anyway, inside jokes about soccer teams.
Dang.
Somebody asked, what kind of music do you listen to when you tie?
I most of the time have The Office going in the background.
Just listening.
The show, yeah.
Just listening to the
watch.
audio.
I listen. It's behind me.
Yeah.
But if I don't,
classic rock.
Yep, bingo.
Pretty much.
That's like all I do.
Yeah. Eagles, Steve Miller Band.
Yep, Tom Petty.
Tom Petty and
you
the
two are like
Heartbreakers.
one and the same.
No, I was talking about him. That's not.
He just knows.
I like classic rock too, but I don't usually have those same bands on.
Do you have music on in the background?
I do. I oftentimes listen to podcasts when I'm tying, or if I have music, I just scroll through the stuff. I just have my phone on shuffle, or sometimes I listen to all kinds of crazy stuff. Beastie Boys, 311.
Yeah.
White Snake.
Whitesnake.
Guns N' Roses.
Their 4 good songs are on repeat for you for probably an hour.
Come on, the whole Appetite for Destruction album is really good. Anyway, what else? I like Extremes. I like the Doors. I like Zeppelin. I like the Beatles. I listen to a lot of 80s like Depeche Mode and Duran Duran. I like everything that's real music. I just don't do country because it's not music.
What about Chris Stapleton? Does that count?
I don't know who that is.
Oh.
Sturgill Simpson is good. I don't like country, but I like Sturgill.
Yeah, and Chris.
Yeah, I'm usually listening to like
if those are country, then no.
It's kind of, but it's rockish. bluegrassy.
It's like
Dire Straits style.
people who are
Not
skilled.
Because I can
quite.
do some novel.
Dire
I love
Straits
Dire
is
Straits.
really good. I
Yeah.
do. Yeah, I can listen to all Lance's playlist. So
Yeah. No. Me, it's Stick Figure.
Yes.
Which
is
I do
my
like.
number
I do.
one.
Stick Figure is good.
Cheech has
my number
converted
one.
me on that.
It's good. However, all the songs sound exactly
No,
the
they
same.
do not, Lance.
It's pretty
Oh,
good.
my
It's
gosh.
pretty good. It's just
There is
Wrong.
It gets
There is
a
a
little
theme.
bit after like 8 hours straight of the same song on
You
repeat.
can talk about glass rods all you want, but I will not let you say that. You're going to get written up by Matthew the Chicken.
That's all right. Let's just add it to my file.
Yeah, so that kind of stuff I listen to. Put on Stick Figure Radio, and you'll find all my favorite bands. What else? Any fly fishing related questions? Favorite Euro rods? We talked a lot about those
that.
early. This is a good one. Our good buddy Mark Thee has been tying flies during the quarantine to donate for real recovery. Mark ties some awesome flies, so huge shout out to Mark Thee. He's a super good dude. So
He's
there
on
you go.
Facebook. Friend him. He needs lots of friends.
Yeah,
He doesn't actually need any.
he
But
loves-
it'd be
he
funny
loves
just to
talking to
flood
you
his friend inbox with requests.
But here's a dude who ties super, super clean flies. Look at his Instagram pictures, and there's a mug that he keeps on his desk that kind of sums up him.
What's his Instagram?
Yeah. What is it?
Fat guy
Fat
Mark?
Kid Flies, I think.
Or something like that.
Mark and he's taken up.
Isn't it just Fat Mark? Fat Mark.
Maybe that's what
Flies?
it is.
Yeah, could
Fat
be.
Mark flies.
And he's not.
He's a good
fat. I
tire,
don't know
and
what
he's
his problem
been
is.
And
doing
he's doing
fine, though. We
Atlantic
gotta get
salmon
salmon flies.
stuff
So
now too.
pretty crazy stuff.
So there you go, Mark. There you go. And also thanks for all those purple energy drinks that you brought us. You bought us at one
Fat
time.
Mark Flies.
Fat Mark
At
Flies.
Fat Mark Flies on Insta.
There you
Follow
go.
him.
Get a bunch of followers, kid. That's what I'm talking about. All right.
Any other last questions here we are not covering? Favorite floating for CDC? We've been using like Fly Dip from Loon or the Flagra Dipped. It's a liquid that covers your flies. That works really good for CDC. And then you can dry it with a desiccant like Loon Top Ride or Frog's Fanny.
Shimazaki Dry Shake.
Yeah. Oh,
Dry
yeah.
Magic.
Dry Magic.
Loon
or
Loxa.
Loxa from Loon, yeah.
And then don't forget the much maligned, not really, but the rubber band trick for CDC flies.
Yeah, check out what's
That
the
Lance
floatant
invented?
video.
I did not invent. We got hammered for people claim that we like ruined the internet because we shared some information, I guess. But
Yeah, it was a
you
secret.
can't worry about the naysayers. It
No.
was not a secret, and we were not the first ones to come up with it. We made no such claim. We just shared the information.
Did you talk about Flyagra already?
Yeah, I mentioned that.
Okay,
Flagra
I wasn't
Fly Dip.
listening to that part. I was deleting comments that
Oh,
were very
yeah.
inappropriate.
I'm gonna have to bust out the chicken shirt.
Yeah.
You know?
The cock
Maybe.
shirt?
Yeah.
You said cop like police
Cops
officer?
and robbers.
No, I
Lance,
said
this
cock
is a
like
chip.
male chicken.
Oh my
The one with male chicken on each shoulder.
Yeah, that's the one I'm doing.
That's the one.
So-
That's what I'm talking about. I don't know why you
Okay,
got to
I'll
make
have
it.
to remember that for the next time.
All right, so until next time, hopefully the next time we have a podcast, it will be in better circumstances for the country.
But
And
if
the
not,
world.
and they shut us down, we're going to live here
Right.
and podcast 24/7.
So, and to kind of touch
Live
on
streams,
that,
here we come.
we're going to keep the store open until the government tells us we can't stay open. We are taking necessary measures to keep the
Yeah, and
the
everybody's
store
been really good about it.
safe.
Customers
Even the Vernalian over here saying measures.
measures.
washing hands,
Better than saying
sanitizing.
regular.
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 Did you catch him?
He's catching. But anyway, even if they shut down the actual store, we will still ship packages as much as possible.
Yep.
And if they ship that down, or if they shut that down, it means that the whole country is going to be shut down. They're going to let you limit breaths into the air before that happens, hopefully.
We're
So-
hoping that doesn't come to that.
Yep.
Right.
Otherwise, keep tying flies. Get out and fish if you can. And we'll see you on the flip side.
By the way, we have a website, flyfishfood.com. We also have a store site, store.flyfishfood.com, and a YouTube channel and an Instagram page, and the most excellent group on Facebook called Fly Tying with Uncle Cheech.
Yep. And again, the shop is open currently, and we're shipping online. So
Shameless plugs.
bingo.
Yep. Boom. That's
Thanks,
it.
everybody.
On
Good
that
times.
note, thank you for tuning in.
Peace out.
Give us a like.
Thank you, Lance Egan.